Hello friends, welcome to GeoEdu channel exploring geological knowledge. Here we came to part 6 of the MCQs that came in OPSC Geologist and Mining Officer Examination 2019 with detailed solution. Let's go to the first question. The first question is, in shallow marine environment, generally the paleocurrent patterns are option 1 polymodal, option 2 bimodal, option 3 unimodal and option D both bimodal and polymodal. As we know, the shallow marine environment is mostly consist of self environment, and the in self environment the most affecting factor is tidal and the tidal force. In tidal force, the water goes in a direction and retreats in that direction. So most it the paleocurrent patterns should be bimodal, but apart from the tidal current, other factors also influence in that shallow marine environment, but in negligible amount. That factors are like the density difference because of salinity difference, by wind action, by rotation of the earth. So also polymodal patterns we found in shallow marine environment. So according to me it will be both bimodal and polymodal. Please comment your answer if you are thinking the answer will be some other option that than option D. So, next question. A basin with thinner development of sediments and no volcanic rocks forming adjacent to a craton is called option A parageosyncline, option B myogeosyncline, option C rift valley, and option D is graben. What are the first option? Two options are on geosynclines. Geosynclines are sedimentary basins. Before means earlier in earlier part, geologists used to use the term geosyncline for sedimentary basin, where thick pile of sediment that deposited in marine basin subsequent to compression, deformation, and uplifted to mountain ranges. Geosynclines are developed along continental margins, is composed of sediments with limestones and shales. Parageosynclines located within a craton, and these are less active, and parageosyncline can be divided into three successive type geosynclines like exogeosyncline, geogeosyncline, autogeosyncline. I am not going to go much details about these geosynclines. And Rift Valley is the because of it formed due to faulting, due to tectonic activity at divergent margin. And Grabens is a valley with a distinct escarpment each side caused by displacement of a block downward. So here the answer will be the Rift Valley. Next question. Which of the following rocks is principally made up of clay minerals? Option 1 Arcos, option 2 siltstone, option 3 greywacke, option D dolostone. As we know, the Arcos is a type of the Arcos is a type of feldspar. It consists of more than 25% of Arcos is a type of sandstone. It consists of more than 25% of feldspar, and siltstone is made up of silt that particle size ranges from 1 by 16 to 1 by 256 millimeter. And greywacke are the rocks that consist of mostly clay minerals, and dolostone is a rocks consist of dolomite mineral. So here the answer will be greywacke. Next question. Which of the following is a depositional sedimentary structure? Option 1 gradient bedding, option B talk bedding, option C collapse structure, option D injection structure. Here, as you know, graded bedding is a depositional sedimentary structure. In case of graded bedding, the larger size particles comes to the bottom, and over that, it gradually tends to finer upward, like this. Suppose this is a basin. The bottom part consists of larger size, then smaller size, and then finally very much finer size. And cross bedding are like cross bedding, but cross bedding, as you know, cross bedding is a bedding that the bedding planes are inclined to the top and bottom of the main bedding plane. So top cross bedding that deposited in a scoop shaped truncated bottom bed, and here the answer will be graded bedding. And collapse structure and injection structure are different types of sedimentary structure that we'll discuss further. Next question: a limestone which contains mainly of organic detritus is generally called as. First option is spurgeonite, and second option coquina, third option oolite, and fourth option Karl tufa. Here the answer will be coquina. Here one picture of a coquina, you can see how much cell fragments it consists of, and spurgeonite is a calcarenite, consists of oolites and fossil debris, and less than 10% of quartz. And oolite consists of spherical grains composed of concentric layers of calcium carbonate. And Karl tufa is a soft porous rock consist of calcium carbonate deposited from hot spring. So here the answer will be coquina. Next question: which type of compressive strength is taken as the most important index property of stones? First, we'll discuss what is the compressive strength. Um, uh, Compressive strength is compressive strength is a strength of rock that means that force expressed per unit area. Beyond compressive strength, the rock causes failure. So compressive strength is the compression stress due to compression. And there are different type of compressive strength like unconfined, confined, drained, unconfined, undrained. Mm. Confined compressive strength is the strength in confining pressure environment, and drained, we can say that after draining the water content or moisture content from the rock, the compressive strength is measured in case of drained. And undrained in natural condition, and unconfined environment only compressive strength is measured. So here the answer will be unconfined compressive strength. Rocks generally fails when the loads are beyond their strength. So the failure takes place under compressive or tensile or shear forces at different values, and the compressive strength is taken as the most important index property of the stone. Because why we are taking the compressive strength as the most index property? Because in natural environment, if we are using a rock in a building or in a, some structure on the surface of the earth, so it will be in unconfined environment, not in a confined environment. Confinement environment is what, where the object is pressurized with all the direction, from all the direction. But in case of a rock, when it placed in a on the earth surface, it the pressure will be on one side, because that may be due to of the roof, or that may be due to of the gravity, but it will be in unconfined environment. So the most important property will be unconfined compressive strength. Next question: what is the maximum force expressed per unit area which a stone can withstand without rupturing? the last question we discussed that compressive strength. The answer here will be the compressive strength, and the other options like shear strength. Shear strength is the strength of the resistance offered by a stone to shear stresses, which tends to move apart of specimen with respect to each other. Shear stress will be like this. Here will be, suppose here is the object, at two ends the shear stress will be will activate, and other option like tensile strength will be the the tensile force, means we are pulling apart the object, and where the object will fail, that will be the tensile strength, and the bending strength will be the flexural strength, and also known as modulus of rupture, stress in material just before the yield of rupture. Suppose we are giving stress in a material in this side, when it tends to rupture, it will be known as the bending strength, and here the answer will be compressive strength. Next question: which rock possesses very high compressive strength? As you know, igneous rock is the most hardest and most tall rock. So here I have given some list of rocks with their compressive strength, density, and absorption ratio. We are not going to that much in that matter, but here we can see that granite have in case of igneous rock, granite have most highest compressive strength, like 1850 to 1450 sorry 4150 kg per centimeter square. And here also, that here granite and basalt I have given, and also engineering property of sedimentary rock of Vindhyan sandstone I have given 550 to 1951 by 57 kg per centimeter square, and granite igneous also given, but the most highest will be in igneous rock, as you can see in the list. So the answer will be igneous. Next question: the ratio between total volume of pore spaces to the total volume of the rock is measured of measure of void ratio, porosity, pore ratio, bulk density. The ratio of total volume of pore spaces to the total volume of rock is known as porosity, because void ratio is the volume of void spaces to volume of solid material. Pore spaces is volume of void spaces to total volume of the rock, and pore ratio is a term I don't know about that, but bulk density is the weight per unit volume, that is with natural moisture content. And if you are draining the moisture, it will be dry density, and if you are filling the pores with water, then it will be weight density. So here the answer will be porosity. The density of here the question came, as I was saying before, the density of the rock with natural moisture content is known as option 1 dry density, option 2 weight density, option 3 bulk density, and option D is natural density. As you know, the with the natural moisture content will be bulk density, as I before told, and dry density when the moisture content totally drained out from the rock, it will be dry density, means the specimen we have to dry before we measure the density. And weight density will be we have to fill the pore spaces with water to fully before measuring the density. And natural density is I think similar to bulk density, so here the answer will be bulk density. Next question: the impact testing of of a stone is done to know the durability, the porosity, density, and toughness. Here I have given already the answer to determine the toughness index. And in case of how to know we measure the impact test, how we carried out the impact testing, here in a cylinder, cylindrical cylinder with a diameter will be 25 mm and height will be 25 mm, and will be stick jackhammer will be there, and with the that jackhammer we have given the impact on the specimen. Next question. The sudden release of stress in rock during tunneling will normally result in rock fall, rock burst, blockage, water gas. Here the answer will be rock burst. Rock fall is the falling of rock with the under the influence of gravity in mass wasting. We have to read that. And rock burst is the rock burst is the violent failure of small pieces of rock from the boundary of the excavation, also known as strain burst. It is also known as strain burst. And blockage is the blockage of the tunnel way, and water goes when when it crosses the groundwater, the water rushes into the tunnel, that will be water rush. Here the answer will be rock burst. Next question. Strata dipping at angle up to 45 degree are called the moderately inclined strata, steeply inclined strata, plunge, overturned. The answer will be moderately inclined strata. If it will be more than 45 degree, it will be steeply inclined strata, that is 45 to 90 degree. And plunge, I have before told that plunge is the angle between horizontal and suppose it is a fold, and it is the horizontal axis, and this will the axis is like dipping in this direction, and this is the horizontal axial plane, so it will be plunge. And overturned is the fold, when a fold or fault is overturned, it is not a overturn. So the answer will be here answer will be moderately inclined strata. Next question. Which type of geological structure can be rectified by grouting? The term grouting is the injection of slurry mixture of water, cement and sand into the joints, and it generally carried out to increase the strength of the rock, because when we found a rock with a lot of fractures and joints, the strength will be much weaker. So when we fill it with cement and let it to be hard, so it naturally become hard. So grouting generally to rectify the structure joint, not fault. In case of fault, the fault is a moving block. So if we are putting also there slurry cement mixture, it will not stay there. So the answer will be joint. Next question. When the strength of a compact rock always greater, first option is when stresses are normal to bedding plane, when stresses are parallel to bedding plane, when stresses are inclined at 45 degree to bedding plane, when stresses are inclined at 60 degree to bedding plane. Here the answer will be when the stress is normal to bedding plane, because if the bedding plane is like this and the stress is the force or stress is normal to or vertical to the bedding plane, it can withstand better. But if the bedding plane is like this and the force is like this, it can easily slide the layer along the bedding plane. And same happens in case of inclined structure, but most stability we can find in case of when the stress is normal to the bedding plane. Next question. Which of the following could be the best site for dam construction? First option is a site of granitic bedrock. Next option is a site of good shear fracture, a site of lateritic zone, a site of limestone bedrock. Here the answer will be a site of granitic bedrock, because as we know, granite is the most top and hardest rock in the nature. And when the shear fracture will be there, it may tend to failure of the dam. And lateritic, as we know, it is the rocks due to leaching and other weathering. Weather type of rock is known as lateritic rock. It don't have that much strength, and a site with limestone generally reacts with water to form, and it weathers away very easily. So the answer here will be the site of granitic rock. Next question. Which of the following is true about granite? It has a very high crossing strength. It takes poor polish. It is high porous rock. It weathers out faster. As we know, granite is have high crossing strength, and granite takes good polish, good polishing. As we can know, the granite used in flooring, and when it polished, it shines very much, and it becomes very smooth. And granite is not porous, and granite not tends to weather faster. So the answer will be granite have very high crossing strength. Next question. Which of the following rock is not a desirable property for a road material? Road metal. First option is should be hydrophobic. Next option is should have sufficient crossing strength. Next option is should be strongly sheared. Next question is should be highly porous and permeable. First option is should be highly hydrophobic. Hydrophobic means water cannot stick to the metal. So and should have high crossing strength, that is also required. And should have this is also required, because when water sticks to the material, it tends to weather faster. And should have high crossing strength, it also required during a road metal. And should be strongly sheared. It also helps the actually road metals, when rock is highly sheared, we can break it easily, and we can use it as road metals. And next option is highly porous and permeable. This option will be right answer, because these options are not correct answer, because when the rock will be highly porous and permeable, the strength of the metal will be very less, and it cannot be used as a desirable property for road metal. Next question. uh, is is with which a stone can be extracted and dressed is called consistency, workability, is easyability, and permeability? Here the answer will be workability. Workability of stone, the is in the effort and economy with which the rock can be dressed is in economic it can be used in economic activity. So the answer will be workability. Next question. Which of the following material generally used as flooring slab? Here the answer will be slate. Here, as you can see, the roof is very nicely prepared by slate, and slate is a metamorphic rock with very fine grain size, and granite is a massive rock, so it generally used as a flooring, and marble also used as a flooring, and also in different statues and other structures. Niche don't have that much strength, so in building material it is better to avoid niche. And in small structure we can use niche. And here at the end we'll continue further. If you are getting some knowledge from my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Geoedu, exploring geological knowledge. Thank you.